For the Young at Heart is sponsored by Duville Life and Wellness Community, a commitment to care, a legacy of compassion. This is Duville.
Hello, welcome to For the Young at Heart. I'm Lucille Jerome. And on today's program, my guest is Bill Sawyer. He has a master's degree from Boston College, and we're going to be focusing on grief and loss. There's so many areas of our lives where we have to experience grief and loss. So Bill is going to help us understand some of this. Thank you, Bill, for coming today.
A pleasure to be here, Lucille.
Thank you.
Thank you for asking me to be here.
Thank you. You've got a lot of experience, and you have a unique method that's very helpful for people. And I'm hoping we can get into that a little bit today. So in terms of grief and loss, where would you like to start?
Well, yeah, that's a good question. I have a diagram on the board here. And basically, maybe the first diagram to look at is this one over here, that this is your mind, my mind, the mind of the person who experiences some kind of loss.
Right.
Okay. And then here's your life situation out there. Maybe a person disappeared through death or a broken relationship or something like that. Or you lost your job. There's all kinds of loss. You lost your health. Things can happen. And the key thing, I think, in dealing with it, in addition to taking any action you can medically and so forth with illness, is to work on how the mind reacts to it. Because there are two ways the mind can react to it. One way is what I call the way of the weed. In Christianity, it's called the fallen human condition.
Right.
In Buddhism, it's just called the normal human condition. It's the way that human beings typically react to things in their environment, their life situation, which is constantly changing, in a way that causes them emotional suffering.
Right. It's the constant changing.
They don't like change.
Right.
Nobody likes change.
Right.
We get older, we don't get younger.
That's right. Oops.
And so what tends to happen is our thinking is wrong. So the roots of the weed represent thinking that does not accord with reality. Thinking like, I can't be happy if I don't have this thing I just lost.
Right.
Which actually is not true, but it can seem true at the time. It can be so traumatic.
Right.
If we think that, then the mind automatically produces a desire, a want. If I think I can't be happy unless that person's in my life, then I really, really want that person in my life.
Right.
If that person is not there anymore for any reason, death, broken relationship, whatever, divorce, then what happens is my desire conflicts with my life situation. I'm not getting what I want.
Right.
And I immediately make myself very unhappy.
Because you keep insisting that you want that.
Right.
You want that person back. You want that job back. You want the divorce not to have happened.
Right.
But you keep in that spot. You can't move from that spot.
And you go around and around and around, and so you're angry about it, and then you can get depressed about it, and all kinds of things about it. And then, of course, finally, in this diagram, this is our thinking, this is our willfulness, and these are our emotions. The final thing is what we say or do. It's the fragrance of the weed. I call it abusive action, simply because it may not be that abusive, but it may not be as loving as you would like it to be.
Right.
Just because you're in so much pain, and you're also deluded.
Okay.
You're actually thinking a thought that isn't true.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So that's one way the mind can react. If the mind is reacting like that, which, to be honest, in the case of most humans, that's the way it tends
That's the
to
way
react.
it is, right.
Okay, we need to kind of change that, and we call that spiritual transformation.
Right.
Or
Now, in a secular world, or in a psychology world, we might call that reframing.
we would call
But
it
this is
reframing.
spiritual transformation here.
Yes, I have a daughter who has a PhD in cognitive behavioral therapy, and she has a practice in it. She's a clinical psychologist. And she calls all of this cognitive behavioral therapy.
Right, right, right.
So obviously there's a psychological component to it. I often do it in a faith context too.
Sure.
Some of the viewers may believe in a higher power and so forth. If so, you want to utilize that, as we'll
Yes.
see in a minute.
Yes.
So if this happens to be the way things are going for anybody out there who has had loss, would be very typical if they did react. I mean, this is what people would call the normal thing.
Right.
But it's not necessary. You actually have a choice. Every time something in your life situation happens that your mind labels bad, you can change your mind about it.
Right.
You can change your thinking from, I just can't be happy without that person, for example, to, that person was a great gift to me from the world or from God. Right. If you have faith, you might believe they're in heaven, like you and I do. That's very reassuring. Now, it's true, I don't have the pleasure of their company anymore, at least not physical company. A little bit later, we'll talk, if you remind me, about tithing, which is a way to still communicate with them, even if they're deceased,
Yes.
or if someone's living but in another location. So we want to change our thinking to, I can still be happy. If you think back before you ever met the person,
Exactly.
or ever before you delivered the child, or whoever it is, and think, was I ever happy? You can probably find some moments you were happy. So that proves that you can be happy without the person.
Exactly. But they don't think like that in the moment of the trauma or the loss.
Correct, because you're so focused on that.
Exactly.
So you need to kind of broaden the horizon and start reframing thinking a little bit differently. Okay.
Right.
And then of course, if you believe in a higher power, you have a religious belief, utilize it by all means. It's
Yes.
very powerful. And you can believe the truths of your religion. So, for a Christian, it would be the person is in heaven.
Right.
God still loves me. I'm going to be joining that person eventually, hopefully. Life is still primarily with God. God gives me lots of people, but they come and they go.
Right.
My grandparents came and they went. My parents came and they went.
Right.
My aunts and uncles came and they went. A lot of my friends in college came and they went.
Right.
And even some in high school.
Yeah.
So, as we said earlier, the life situation is always changing. We have to learn, in addition to faith, acceptance. So everyone can learn acceptance
Yeah.
of what is. If you can accept what is, that calms this great desire of clinging to the lost item, job, a person, whatever, and quiets this emotion. That quiets the pain. It can even completely eliminate the pain. Complete acceptance can completely eliminate emotional suffering.
So the clinging is part that's hanging on to the past, whatever that
Yeah.
past might be.
Yeah, you want it back, it's
You
gone.
want it back.
Slipped out of your hands because
Right.
it was fundamentally impermanent to
Right.
start with,
Right.
the physical presence. And, but you still want it so much, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
You know, where's
Can't
old
let
Johnny?
go. You can't let go.
Yeah, yes, and letting
can't.
go is, the clinging is a great metaphor for that.
Right.
In fact, Buddhists use clinging mostly for this desire. We're constantly clinging to things.
Right.
So it's interesting to point out too that in Buddhism, and you mentioned you have some watchers who are
Sure.
Buddhists, they of course know that this desire, these willful impulses, are the direct cause of all emotional suffering.
Right.
But in turn, of course, the wanting, the clinging, the grasping is caused by thinking. I
Right.
have to have this thing to be happy. There's no other way for me to be happy. And that's what's not true.
Right. Right.
So, so reframing to the truth and then changing what you really want. A Christian would come over and say, okay, I still really want to follow God, be a loving person to everybody. And then gratitude really can reframe things because we get so focused on the trauma right in front of us. This
Right.
person just died, I'm back from the funeral, that's all we're thinking about. But there's much more. There are many other people.
Is there a time factor involved as people move along? Well, I'm sorry I said that. It's going to be different for everybody. It's going to have to be different for everybody because it's going to be based on the relationship you had
Yeah.
or the importance of whatever that loss was.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh yeah, it's going to take people different amounts of time to go from here to here. How much time are they going to spend on the effort to
Right.
do this?
Right.
Some
Some people take several courses in this to try to move from weeds to, because there can be more than one weed also.
Oh yes, yeah. There are many weeds, indeed.
Yes, okay.
The excessive desire for
Right.
approval, for money, things like that.
If everybody doesn't love me, I'm worth nothing.
Right.
That would be a good one.
Yeah,
That would be a good one.
that's a total lie, but
Okay.
but I'm sure people believe it. Yeah, so we need to get out of it, and the way we do is to really go down the weed and get to the thinking. So,
Right.
if you're religious, step one is not on the board, but step one would be you talk to God or your higher power about a concrete, specific problem. Make it really specific. If it's a relationship, make it just part of the relationship. What part of the absence of this person bothers me the most? We always had breakfast together, now we don't. Or what?
Right.
Because if you take the whole thing, it involves a lot of different thoughts.
Okay.
So we try to keep it very concrete and specific, and then
Okay.
you can go back with another slice of it. So first step is you just tell your higher power the problem, then you tell your higher power, or yourself, if you don't have a higher power, what you said or did on the occasion of this happening. Then you come down into the mind. What emotions am I really feeling? Am I angry? Am I depressed? Am I hurt? Is it sad? Is this deep sadness? What is
What
it?
is it?
And write them down, and share them with your higher power, of course, if you have a higher power. Then come down and really look at what you really, really want in this situation. Why is the loss bothering you? What did you really want? You're, of course, resisting what happened and clinging to the thing that is gone now.
Right.
What is it about that person or thing, job maybe, or whatever you lost? What about it really makes you cling to it? Okay?
What specific thing is
Yeah.
it?
Right, because it can surprise you. There can be certain layers. It sounds like one thing, and then it gets deeper. It's really, it's my security or something. See, as you
Okay.
get deeper.
Okay.
So have a nice conversation with your higher power about it. Get to what do you really, really want? Then you come down, and this is often in the unconscious part of the mind. Here you tell your higher power why you want what you just told the higher power you want. Why do you want it? There has to be thinking there to give rise to such a strong desire. Okay?
Right.
And it usually runs something like this. I can't be happy at all without what I just lost.
Right.
So now I can't be happy. It's impossible. It's actually, it's laughable really once you think through
When
it.
you start, so they're essentially
But spot it.
saying
You
their
gotta spot
their life doesn't exist without that one person, that one thing. Is that what it boils down to? That they really don't exist without that one.
Well, they can't really be happy, they don't think.
Can't be happy.
Yeah.
Okay.
When, of course, they can.
Of course they can.
And they'll see that over time, but
Right.
just how long do you want to stay in this misery is the question.
Right.
So the sooner you employ faith, acceptance, and
Right,
gratitude,
right.
the sooner you get out.
Right.
But anyway, continuing on this discussion with your higher power or with yourself, to reframe it, after you've seen clearly why you want what you just said you wanted, and ultimately it probably comes back to security for my existence or something
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
but there may be other things in there. You really want to look at this and write it down.
Write
Then-
it down.
Yeah, I would write down all of these steps, and then you can compare it when you do it again. You might have to do it
Right.
a number of times
Right,
for the same
right.
thing.
Right.
But then you want to come over here and ask your high power to just let you know the truth. Or
What
let,
is the
let the
truth?
vast universe let you know. So go into quiet prayer and meditation. And just be quiet and open and see what comes to you. If you're a religious person, you're hoping God will let you know something. But God in different religions has let us know a lot
Right.
already.
This is really applicable to any religion, any spiritual dimension, even people who are irreligious.
Correct.
Basically.
Yeah.
So that's-
Atheists
that's
can
the-
use this.
Yeah.
Any religion.
Yeah.
Yeah, for example, a Buddhist would get to maybe this point, and they would look at the Four Noble Truths.
Right.
The first noble truth is we suffer.
Right.
Second noble truth is
Yeah.
this desire causes it. It's a direct cause of it.
Right.
Third noble truth is you can get out of it. And the fourth noble truth is you get out of it by moving from this
From
mindset
there to there.
to this mindset through the Eightfold Path.
Okay.
So the Buddha's objective was to destroy this, all these cravings.
Sure.
you know,
Sure.
The grasping, the clinging, and the resisting. They're all different aspects of wanting.
Right. Right.
okay? And all those aspects give rise to pain.
Okay.
And so, and so what we're talking about gets rid
Now
of it.
we move over to the flower.
Now we move over to the flower, and
Okay.
the truth is wisdom. This is deep, deep wisdom wherever it comes from. The Four Noble Truths are largely true. Certainly the first three are, without question, completely compatible with Christianity, for
That's right.
example.
That's right.
The fourth Noble Truth is very complex, but
Well, Jesus said, I am the way, the truth, and the life.
yeah, I am the way, the truth,
Right.
and the life, and my truth will set you free, and it
Right.
will.
Right.
It really will. The truth will always set you free because this wisdom really does accord with reality.
That's right.
So if you adopt it, then your desires become holy. I really want to help and love other people, okay? If you go through life with that mindset, you're going to pretty much always be at peace, you're going to be happy, and then your words and deeds are going to be effortlessly loving,
Right.
okay? You're not going to be craving things for yourself like you're missing something.
Right.
Because the truth is, you're not missing anything.
Yeah.
You have everything right now. Everybody listening to this show has everything right now, even if you don't have much in the way of material goods. You have enough to be completely happy right now.
Be in the
Because
now,
it's
right
a mental
now.
state.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Be in the now, have faith
Faith.
that all is basically well, that there's a divine force, some force of nature
There's some force.
leading us all to a good place. Try to put on the mind of acceptance. I'm going to allow things to come and go. I'm going to go through life with open hands. The gifts from God or just from the universe will come, and that's great. And I say, great. And then they're going to go. Okay? The beautiful autumn trees that we're seeing
Right.
today, I was just loving them this morning as I
Right.
got up
Right.
through the fog. Are
Through the
beautiful,
fog.
but they're going to be they're going to be gone by the
That's
time
right.
people see the show in December.
right.
This is early November right,
Right.
now.
So being grateful for
yeah.
the leaves that we see right now, when they're green in the summer,
Yeah.
when they're red, yellow, and whatever in the fall,
Exactly.
and when the trees are bare.
That's right. I mean, you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
nature is beautiful in all its different shapes and colors.
Yeah, it's
So
true.
I don't cling to it. I just
Right.
enjoy it while it's there. I
Right.
know something really lovely but different is coming.
Right. It's, it might be easier for people to see it when we talk about nature.
Yeah.
I think when we begin to talk about relationships,
Yes.
then it gets very difficult. But it still works. This can still work if we're open
Yes.
to it and willing to deal with whatever things we're dealing with and then moving forward somehow.
Right.
Right?
Yes. well,
Okay.
yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I mean, because, in relationships, we get a very strong bond. And I think it's worthwhile to make a distinction here that could be very helpful to the
Okay.
viewers.
Okay.
The distinction I want to make is between love on the one hand and attachment on the other hand.
Okay. Yes.
And they tend to get mixed together, you know,
Yes, they do.
intertwined like a rope, you know. Love is usually just defined as I really wish the best for the other person, and I'll
Yes.
do anything I can,
Yes.
if I can,
Right.
for their well-being. Okay? And of course, we tend to feel that way for our children and grandchildren and,
Sure.
and close friends and family, and hopefully eventually everyone. But attachment is a little bit different. So we may sort of feel that towards, let's just say, a child, whether they're young or an adult child. But then we kind of become attached to this person. We say, you know, I really enjoy your company, but could you call a little more? Would you come by a little more? Would you return my calls?
Yeah. Right.
I laugh at my daughters. I get their answering machine. Leave a message and I'll call you as soon as I can. And I just laugh. They're not going to call.
Yeah.
And I don't really care. I just leave them a message and let them do what they want.
And they will call you when they can.
Yes, they will. Yeah.
That's the key. And they will call you when they can,
Yeah.
rather than you. Why haven't they called me? They should have called me by now.
Oh no,
Right,
I don't expect.
right.
I don't expect anything.
Right.
Yeah. So love is wonderful.
Right.
We want to love so much, and it's great to develop a holy desire to love and be kind, and the main thing is just to feel an impulse towards everyone, whether you say anything or even see them. I want the best for them.
Yeah.
Okay. If you do, you love them. They may act very badly. We have to forgive that, and then just wish the person well. If they get the wonderful things we want, they'll come over here and be the happiest
That's
person in the
right.
world,
That's
and
right.
they'll be our best friends.
That's right.
But attachment is different.
Right.
Attachment, we fall into a thinking like I can't be happy unless that person's right in my life as often as I want them to be.
That's right.
Okay. They have to come by. They have to send me flowers and candy. They have to
So-
remember my birthday.
Right. So the person isn't the true object. You are the true object, because the focus is on you,
Yeah.
not the other.
Yeah, love. So, see,
Right.
now, if I love you, which I do, I wish the best
Right.
for you, okay?
Right.
Okay? However, if I just enjoy your company so much, I don't care about you, really, I care about me. But we have a good time, so I want you to be with me when I want you to be with me, but not when I don't want you to be with me. then it's a
right.
selfish craving,
That's
right?
That's right. That's right.
So they're polar opposites, really.
Yeah.
And yet some people actually think because they're in so much pain after someone dies, because they're hugely attached to the
Right.
person, that shows how much they love them.
Right.
I'm afraid it doesn't really. Okay.
Right.
It shows that they're attached to them. So you have to honestly look at that and
It's so-
let go of the attachment. Continue to love the person.
Right.
If they're deceased or they've moved on with someone else and you'd rather be with them and rather than that, someone else. Still, as Jesus says, love your enemy.
Right.
I was
Love
with
your enemy.
a group just 2 days ago, and one of the people there said that she finally got over her divorce when she really could love her ex, really wish him well. Okay, I mean, it's over. They're not going to reconcile.
Right.
They're both moving in different directions, and neither one wants to get back together now. But she could get rid
But
of
she
her
could.
pain
Right.
and get out of the weed and be at peace with the whole thing. Not until she was able to get to that point.
She was
I
willing.
wish him the best.
Right. So she was willing to look inside of herself.
Yes.
To then move beyond that. You mentioned a group. You have a couple of groups.
Yes,
That's okay.
I do have a
Yeah,
couple of groups.
yeah.
In fact, 2 days ago, it wasn't even the subject of a workshop, but two other things happened to pop up on grief, and because I knew I was coming here today, I noted them. One woman lost her husband. It sounds like I don't know exactly when, in the last year or two. And she's been unhappy about it. And she had I always ask them at the beginning of classes, you know,
Yes.
from the classes you're in with
Yeah.
me, how did the past week go? And I give them spiritual exercises
Yes,
to do
you
like
do.
this. And she said she had a breakthrough. And I said, wow, what happened?
Yeah.
And she said, I finally realized I could give myself permission to be happy.
That-
She almost felt guilty.
There you go. That's part of the key, isn't it?
Yeah.
Somehow, if you're happy, oh my God, I'm doing something wrong.
Yeah.
I'm not supposed to be happy. I'm supposed to be there in the weed
Right.
forever. In a way, I think that is how some people think.
Yeah.
But she gave herself permission to be happy
when she-
without
yeah.
the past person.
And she
There
just
you go.
went, wow, I mean, that was an aha moment, she
Yes,
said.
yeah,
So she
yeah,
got
yeah.
the truth.
Yeah.
I can,
Yeah.
and it's not a bad thing. I'm not being
Right.
bad.
No, not at all. Not at all.
She's a Christian, and,
Yeah.
and Jesus wants her to be happy.
That's
and
right.
Her husband's happy, he's in heaven, and she believes that.
You said something about tithing a little while
I did.
ago. And what exactly, is that going to tie in with this, or can you ask?
Well, it
Share
does.
a little bit.
Yeah, because I did want to at least mention this to
Yeah.
people. I'm not going to go into it too much, but most people probably haven't heard of tithing. But
No.
this book is called Tithing: The Art of Spiritual Presence by two, I think they're Dominicans. I think it's a priest and a nun, but I'm not sure. They have PhDs as well. But the idea of tithing is the idea that even though someone is deceased or you're separated physically from someone, you can still be in communication with them.
Right.
Okay? So just like you can pray to God, now the Holy Spirit, because
Sure.
you're not physically present, and have a chat with Him like I
Right.
do every day, a lot of the day. You can also talk to
Okay.
deceased people. So
Okay, good.
I have fun
Thank
talking
you.
to my parents.
Can I take a look
Yeah,
at
sure.
that? Thank you. We're actually going to be winding down in about 2 minutes or
Oh,
so,
okay.
Bill.
Yeah.
Is there some few things that you really want to make sure we hone in on a little bit more?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, one is just start communicating with the deceased. If you thought they had
Right.
disappeared in all ways, I've had experiences with people when once they just started the communication, a big change happened. So just talk to them like
Right.
you would talk to a higher power.
Right.
Yeah, the other thing I would say, maybe one of the biggest things, we didn't actually say it out loud,
What?
but one of the biggest things to understand is your life situation
Yeah.
does not determine your happiness.
Right.
Okay.
Well, you've said that in a couple of different ways, but
I
it's
did,
good to just
but let's say it out
Right.
loud and big
Yeah,
and strong
right there.
because
Right.
this is huge to
Yeah.
get
Yeah.
over this. Rather, what creates your unhappiness or happiness is not your life situation, but how your mind reacts to it.
Okay.
Okay? And I even brought along the great St. John of the Cross, Doctor of the Church.
Yes.
And he says, I am not made or unmade by the things which happen to me,
Right.
but by my reaction to
Right.
them.
So this is not this is not esoteric. This is
No.
This is actually getting back to the basics.
That's what
In a
it is.
way,
It's
getting back to the basics.
super basics.
Okay. I want to thank you so much for coming, and
Pleasure.
I would love for you to come back sometime if you have
I
time for
would-
us.
I would be
Okay.
honored.
Okay.
to do that.
Thank you, Bill, and thank you for watching. And he's got this wonderful website that I believe we posted up there.
Yes, yes, and we
Okay.
can just say quickly there are some more videos
And
where
there's
I
more
do
videos.
explain the basics
Good.
of the wheat and the flour.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Oh my
A
God.
joy to be here.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh.
For the Young at Heart is sponsored by Duville Life and Wellness Community, a commitment to care, a legacy of compassion. This is Duville.